particularly in a case where the state's decided that it wants to try to kill someone.
Let's remember why we're here. I want to be clear, guys. Number one, obviously, this video is a little longer. Please stick with me to the end. And number two, I'm still addressing the previous trial that BRYAN had, not the latest one. I didn't want to confuse anyone, so I want to get that out early, but let's get to it.
But do we need a whole nother year after this summer? I mean, can I help everybody by having tighter deadlines to make things happen faster?
I know I recorded this like 4 or 5 times, man, because at first I'm just like dying laughing in disbelief, and then I'm just like, really? Really, nigga? Man, what is real smoke? I've never got maybe I missed it, the passionate end that I got right here. It sounded like she was begging the judge and the state and anybody who could potentially affect this case to realize that she's fighting for the life of a man who might not even deserve to die.
That's the duty I owe to BRYAN. That's his right for effective assistance of counsel to have me do those things. Your Honor, summer of 2024, it's impossible for us to do it.
And listen, until stop the cap. Let's get to it, man. See how this gonna go, y'all. I am under the weather. We do not need to hit the panic button. It's regular, you know, it's part of life, but I am under the weather. If you pay any attention to the page anymore, you probably seen what I told y'all. That man said that crazy stuff. We're gonna get to that though. We are definitely gonna get to that. But yeah, you seen what I said. I was gonna try to get the video out last Sunday or Monday. Leaving Walmart, I just picked up a bunch of stuff: ginger ale, chicken noodle soup, etc., etc. I just want to tell y'all while y'all hear my put your seatbelt on along. But yeah, I was trying to get the video out, and man, I got sick. I got a stomach bug, and then when I thought the stomach bug was over, it lasted for about 2 days. I was out for about 2 days, and I'm just like a head cold or something. But anyway, man, I know the hearing is today, and I did this video and then deleted it. That was part of the whole sick thing. When I got better from the stomach bug, you know, I went to work on the video and realized I had deleted the audio. So this is our second round at it, and BRYAN is actually having his other hearing today. You know, today is what's today, like the 28th, February the 28th. So while that's going on, we're going to just go ahead and wrap up this hearing, and I'm going to tell you guys my thoughts. And yes, I am blown the hell away. I'm so upset that I deleted that audio, because I can't recreate the passion that I had, the real-time responses and emotions, the honest opinions, but I will read through my notes and we'll just see what we have. Now, once again, notice of appeal, man. This is the last video. This is part 2 of it. But notice of appeal was the last one, and I was telling you guys, to me, it seems like Ann Taylor is preparing a defense for BRYAN right now. She's defending this trial right now. She hasn't given up on fighting for his innocence, but she's also going ahead and laying the groundwork, you know, for issues to be brought up on appeal. Judge, the state, whoever they're partnering with, man, y'all are making a lot of suspicious moves, and Ann is just highlighting that, man. I'm no litigation expert. I say that in all my videos. I just like to be a transparent person. But for me, it doesn't take a legal expert to see, you know what I mean, some of the things that Ann is clearly doing. And once again, I just want to highlight, I think she's highlighting herself, you know, some of the suspicious and questionable judgments that the judge and also the state is making. So when I looked at the second half of that video, which you're going to have to just yourself go and watch Notice of Appeal to see what I said about that in more detail. But when I looked at the second half of that video, that's when they got to a trial date, right? And that's why I was so irate, because Judge literally sat on that stand and said, if there's anything I can do to help, he offered his assistance in getting this process where it needs to be. A resolution for everyone. Man, let me get to these notes before I be too all over the place, man. First and foremost, and when she was explaining to the judge how big of a task she has preparing a capital punishment defense, which no one in that courtroom, I think, is remotely ignorant of. Once again, I don't think we have to be legal experts to get a remote idea of what could go into preparing a death penalty defense, or even to try a death penalty. You know what I mean? Even for the state. I don't think we got to be legal experts to get you can conjure up what that might entail, right? And then when we are true crime fans, so we are, some of us much more than others, intimately aware of the details, you know what I mean? As much as you can be as an outsider of what goes into it. And that is what Ann is explaining to the judge and to the prosecution and to the courtroom and to the watching, viewing public. To me, this is one of those things that goes under, we're exposing you. Why does this lady have to lay out a litany of what you are a judge, bro? You know what's going on here. You're a judge. You didn't get where you're at sitting on that stand in this trial for her to have to explain to you what she's up against. And you know, not just a general case like this. You are involved in the literal case she's talking about. Anyway, so that's what Ann is doing while the judge is trying to rush this trial date along. The prosecution starts off trying to rush this trial date along. We're going to talk about that later because something interesting happens with that. And is explaining why there's no way she can rush the trial. Now, the notion of a trial this summer, 2024, this summer, is what's being pushed upon Ann and us. You know what I mean? Not obviously we aren't involved. I don't want to exaggerate that, but you get what I'm saying. Ann is saying 2025 at best, or somewhere out there. No way 2024. But either way, one of the things that she lays out for her reasoning is she's saying there's a multitude of evidence that she has, and she still, so much going on. I haven't been able to get through this. And then there's evidence that she's still waiting on. She doesn't have it all, but she knows it exists. Whether it's the prosecution has admitted it exists or she has evidence that it exists. And then she says there's evidence that I have part of, but I don't have the entirety of it. And she mentions a video, guys. That is so she says, I'm going to give you, this is what Ann literally says to Judge. She says, I'm going to give you examples of what I'm talking about, this evidence. And it's 3 different categories. Remember, I just said them. I'm not going to repeat them. The category that she is referencing is the one that she has part of the evidence, but not all of it. And then when she says, I'm going to give examples, multiple, and a very shrewd woman zeroes in on only one example, and that example is some video. There's a video that I have part of. I'm still waiting to receive the entire video. I'm telling you why I'm zeroing in on that. Ann is a very intelligent woman. She's meticulous. She's calculated, guys. I don't know what y'all watch when y'all see that woman. Maybe I'm high here. I read people, man. This lady is no fool, man, and that is an understatement. So why would she tell the court she's going to give us examples, but only give one example? I don't know. Maybe I've jumped way too far down the Star Trek hole here, but that did happen. She did reference a video with no details there, no specifics that we could be like, okay, with that's what she's talking about, and she only has parts of it. That's the first thing that jumped out to me, guys. What video is Ann talking about? Because damn it, we done seen videos recreated. What video is Ann talking about? I'm also very confused about why Ann is going out of her way to say she's not disparaging the state and they're not intentionally withholding discovery. I'm confused about that because to many watching the eyes, mine included, it seems to be exactly what they're doing. Once again, Ann is a very inviting person, man. She's accommodating. And I know what it is. I'm an accommodating person, man. I would prefer in a room of 1 million people, everybody see what everybody else wants, man. I'm gonna help serve and everything. I'm gonna be, I get mine when let's make sure I'm accommodating because I don't want to hear anybody damn mouth. So I want to make sure that you have exactly what the hell you want. So when I sit down to, do what I'm gonna do or whatever, I don't want to hear you complain. I don't want to hear your mouth. And I'm saying it blatantly now, but that's not how I display it when I'm with people because I'm ready out. It's my intention to be like that. I'm trying to be kind. And Ann is like that. When you hear her talk, this is an example. She's always going far out of her way to say, I'm not saying that, the state is withholding evidence or discovery, and I'm not trying to speak bad about them. You don't have to, as it pertains to speaking bad about them. And hell, all anyone has to do is describe their behavior honestly. They do that themselves. As far as withholding discovery, this is why I say I'm confused about it, because is this you playing chess, and or do you really believe what you're telling us? Because you know they're withholding discovery. You say these things as like a bulletproof vest for the silver bullet that you're about to shoot at them, because like I said, you just got through telling us about a video, you know what I mean? You also told us later on, maybe I'll mention this again too, that there was evidence that was ready. I think it was calls from the tip line, was it 9,000, ready to be handed over to you in November, but you didn't get them to January or February. I'm forgetting now because I had listened to that, you know, when I made the first video, and now it's almost a week from that. But it was like 9,000 calls or something that should have been turned over to you in October, and you didn't get them to January or February. And like you told us that, I didn't know anything about that. And other things you say that it's like you're giving us the examples of them withholding evidence from you while you're verbally telling us you don't think that's what they're doing. That confused me. I'm not saying negatively or pop. It's like, what is Ann's strategy there? I want to speak a little about Ann. If it sounds like I'm reading off my notes, I am, guys. I'm going to read through them and we're going to get out of here. This one says Ann is sharp, something I've already mentioned. You know, her passion stood out to me this time. I'm from the South, man. I'm from Georgia, man. I'm a, Pentecostal Baptist. I'm definitely a Christian. Love my Lord, even though I don't always act like it. But yeah, deep South, man. I've been to a few non-black churches, but mostly black churches. And if you know anything about them, you can YouTube them, find them on TikTok or whatever, man. I don't want to say anything wrong, but negative, but I would say there's just a lot of passion in that environment. That's what I'm trying to say. When you're listening to the preacher, when you're listening to the choir, there's a lot of passion there. I literally got the same feeling hearing Ann describe what's going on here. This time, I've never gotten that before. I've always gotten sharp Ann. I've always gotten calculated and meticulous Ann. I've always gotten thoughtful Ann. I've always gotten accommodating Ann. I've never got maybe I missed it, the passionate Ann that I got right here. It sounded like she was begging the judge and the state and anybody who could potentially affect this case to realize that she's fighting for the life of a man who might not even deserve to die. I mean, that's how, and she was, like I said, she was damn near preaching like a Baptist preacher, like one of the Pentecostal preachers. I felt it. I got the same feeling from when I was a kid in them churches. And I definitely speaking positively when I describe that. This lady isn't, which makes me believe even more so that, yes, like some of you guys say, there's a small minority out there that believes Ann is involved because she's from the area, she's connected, et cetera, et cetera. And you got a right to feel that way. But for me, this makes me believe even more so that Ann believes in Bryan's innocence. Or, like the small minority believes, Ann is somehow involved in this in a cover-up, whether for or against Bryan. But nah, not for me. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know Bryan is guilty. I think Ann, as a matter of fact, I can't even say that. I don't know. It's so many options here, and I'm just not jumping on any bandwagon. I'm just a factual person. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that. Can y'all hear that, man? That's Miami, man. I'm just sitting in the park, man. It's beautiful out here. I wanted to go and make this video. I got a spark of energy, and can you hear that in there? It's helicopters, it's police sirens. Let me get back to it. Praise God, there are beautiful things here too. But yeah, I don't know if Ann is so passionate because she believes in Bryan's innocence or because she's involved in some type of cover-up. But I just know this time, man, the passion stood out to me. If you heard the hearing, once again, I'll reiterate, she talked about how much her team is involved in, how much work they have that they still have to catch up on, how much work they have only part of, and then how much work they're still waiting to receive. And she's saying, you want me to compact that down into a presentable defense by summer of 2024. We're talking a few months. Like I said, you don't have to be a legal expert to realize that makes no damn sense. Later on in the trial, if you watch this, you know this, Bill agreed with her that, this evidence, all of it has to be looked at. What they were specifically talking about, I think the 9,000 calls from the tip line, I have to surmise that applies to all the evidence. We're talking about whether a man deserves to die here or not. You know what I mean? And that is the thing, man. In the interest of justice, this process has to go forward in a way that makes sense for everybody, not just in a way that makes sense for our overworked and overloaded justice system and those that, you know, are employed therein. And we're going to talk about that too if you missed what I said just there. But Ann was explaining how much work her and her team have to do, and she was literally saying we're overwhelmed here, right? Not overwhelmed though in the sense that she couldn't handle it, but just overwhelmed in the sense that there's a lot to do. Don't expect me to do it adequately and in a reduced amount of time. That is ridiculous, especially considering what's at stake. And the whole time she's saying this, you can, maybe you hear passion or whatever in my voice right now. Ann doesn't sound like this. Ann is, somehow she is able to pull off communicating the seriousness of the circumstances, and also do it in a passionate way without sounding anything outside of her normal tone. You know what I mean? I don't know how she does it, but that just stood out to me too. But I also had this thought. Anybody in Ann's shoes right now, I don't know what team of attorneys you could take and put in Ann's shoes right now. Literally, I don't know. I don't live in that world, man. I'm not in that field. But I don't know anybody you could. It happens on our jobs, right? Your supervisor, your manager, my director. Hey, we need this. You want me to lift an entire Walmart building with 2 people? You know I need machines. You know I need time to plan this out, plot it out. I need to bring in somebody who's this is their expertise. We need to talk to your father about the budget. How much money we got to spend on this? You literally want me to do this today? It makes no damn sense. Who could you put in my shoes right now and get them to pull this off for you? That's not named God. And that's what Ann is saying also. Like, come on, man. Well, I'm saying that, you know, on her behalf. Don't act like this whole idea that they're trying to slow the trial down, that they're trying to hold the trial up. That's ridiculous. Everybody, the legal people in that field, the experts there, the experienced people there, from the judge to the state to us, we watching. Who could do what y'all are even implying that this woman should do in the amount of time that y'all give her to do that? Y'all done lost y'all damn mind. Nobody could. So stop asking her to do that, especially considering what's at stake. That is not in the interest of justice. And the whole time, you see how my passion is up and down? This is what I'm saying to me. I just appreciate about Ann. She never goes here. She communicates it with the same passion and the same seriousness and the same desperation, but she just stays. Her voice never is 1 octave the whole time. I just appreciate that. I like also how she's kind and she's mitigating. And that goes back to her emphasizing, hey, man, I'm not trying to say anything bad about them, or I'm not, you know, implying that they're holding up, you know, holding evidence, withholding discovery from us. But yeah, yes, you are, Ann. But she says those things and she hammers them home, and that's the mitigating part of her. Like, it's like, how can you be mad at her? Somebody dissing you, but like, number one, they telling the truth, and number two, like, they really not being crude or disrespectful about it. Like, they just right, whether you like it or not. How can you be mad at them? And it's also doing other things, like not setting people who have already decided to be against her, and not making, you know, enemies and ruffles where there doesn't need to be. So I like that, man. My question though is this right here, after I've said all of that about her. Is this her personality? Like, is this who Ann is? I don't know this lady personally. I probably never meet Ann in my life. Ironically, I have a picture of it there. There's a store down here in Miami called Ann Taylor. I don't know anything about it. Maybe some of you ladies do. Literally, it's called Ann Taylor. I took a picture of it when I seen it. But is this who Ann is as a person? Like, if you meet Ann, you know, at your local Outback, or, you know, whatever restaurant you go to, or shopping, you know, place you go to, or you met her as a business associate or whatever, is this who she is as a person? Or is this who Ann is being? And this is the real question. Because she knows that right now she's up against more than straightforward justice. Right? Is that why Ann is always so measured and conservative while she stays sharp? I don't really get the sense that Ann is yielding and bending. I get the sense that Ann is preparing for battle, and Ann is letting her opponents know that she's going to be a worthy foe. Some people may see some of her, you know, actions as bending. I don't necessarily so, but I definitely always see her as being measured and conservative. But once again, the question is that who she is as a person, or is that who she has? Is that part of a strategy here because she knows there's more going on than just justice here, right? Remember I told you guys, man, she is preparing this case and laying the foundation for a strong appeal should one be needed. She's literally letting us know, us, the watching world, the viewing public, what goes into preparing a defense, like I've already said. And she's letting us know they're trying to send her to war with her hands tied. I want to say whether they're doing it intentionally or not, but the reality of the situation is, how many times am I going to say this in this video? Why? We don't know anything about it, man. You run a Fortune 500 company that has nothing to do with criminal litigation. I'm from the warehousing and logistics industry, man. You're from the restaurant industry. You're from this part of the service industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You work in coal mines, you know what I mean? You're a stay-at-home father, mother, whatever. You're a teacher. We don't know. You're an astronaut. We don't know anything about these things, man. But I think most of us with honest eyes can see that what they're asking this lady to do with no shame whatsoever, nobody could do. They're asking her to fight a losing battle. And I feel like that's what they did with that damn, his speedy trial. And now they love to throw it up that he waived it. I mean, what the hell choice did you give him? We're, when was that? Back in October? So how many months are we coming up on? Right now, we're coming up on damn near half a year. And in 2 more months, it'll be half a year since he waived his right to a speedy trial, and y'all still ain't got his attorney all the damn evidence that she needs to prepare an adequate defense for him. How the hell was he gonna go to trial back then? You act like the penalty if he's found guilty is a slap on the damn wrist or something. He got to spend a couple of weekends in jail. Y'all trying to kill a man. Go watch in the last video, man. Notice of appeal. We ain't going for that. And letting y'all know, man, hell no. I'm not going to war with my hands tied. And I'm going to let you know, you trying to send me to war with my hands tied. You trying to send me into a forest full of hungry bears smelling like food in front of the whole damn world, but you doing it like it makes sense. No, I'm going to let you know in detail it don't make no damn sense where everybody can see, hear, look, and smell. You done lost your damn mind, man. That lady defending a man who may not deserve to die. Y'all want to just a fast food drive through it through? Y'all done lost, man. Let's get the bill, man. Bill, I'm confused. I mean, I am confused as hell, homie.
We need to also balance the need to move forward in a constructive, productive fashion. When the state filed our motion asking for a scheduling order and trial date, which was a little bit over a month ago, we proposed the summer of this year. And at that time, at this time right now, we believe that we could be prepared for trial summer of this year. As I said, we filed this last month. At that time, and as we stand here today, we believe that we could be ready for trial this summer. Thank you, sir.
2 seconds later.
Let's go to Mr. Thompson and see what you have to say about all this. Just getting things ready for trial.
Ms. Taylor is not understating the amount of work that's involved in this case, Judge. I think that's fair to say, and there's more information that continues to be developed. You know, it's kind of like you ask one question, you get an answer, and that leads you to another question.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. So you're saying, looking at this realistically and the amount of information, evidence, non-evidence, that might be looking at summer of 2025?
I'm saying that could be where we end up, Judge.
Bro, if you don't get your ass out of here, man, that's all. Bill done lost his damn mind. I didn't understand that at all, man. Yeah, guys, the video was so long and I didn't want to miss anything that I just decided to clip it into 2 parts. So you're definitely going to have to double back. I'm going to release the other part. Today is Thursday. I will release the other part Saturday night, Lord willing. Just part 2. We got more things to cover, especially some of Bill's wayward actions in the court. I don't want to disparage anybody, but damn, bro, they got a lot of jokes about Joe Biden. You was up there doing a Joe Biden impersonation, Bill. Other than that, guys, like I said, to me, it just seems like there's some, intentional moves being made, man, to handicap the defense. I suggest, if you haven't, I know most of you have, but if you haven't, watch these hearings, man. I was at a point, I still don't watch everything, and I from the beginning I said, yo, man, I'm just gonna wait until trial comes out to dive fully into it, because there's too many rabbit holes out here. But then I did start watching the hearings, because that is actual actually what's going on in court. So there's just a lot going on, too much to cover in one video, but I suggest if you haven't watched it, you go back and watch it, and maybe you should watch it again, man. I think there's more to gain from, no shots at anybody, man, from watching actual trial footage, you know what I mean, court footage, digging into that than there is from jumping to YouTube. Just my opinion, you know, I could be wrong, we all got them. Hey man, come back for part 2, man. We're gonna go ahead and drop that Saturday night, Lord willing. And if you haven't, check out the previous video before this one. Notice of appeal, man. Y'all be safe out there.
This is a capital case. Death is different.
Talking about some damn parking spaces.